If you're doing caps in your shop right now, you already know they are not all created equal. MICROTEC USA just sent us their Vector VCAP press, and I'm gonna be opening this for the very first time, live on camera, no prep, no preview. You're gonna see exactly what I see. Now, if you guys press hats, you need to watch this. What's up, superstars? Phil here. If you're new, this channel is all about heat transfer printing, DTF, and building a legit print operation. I've tested a lot of heat presses as well as hat presses in the past. We test everything in a real shop, not in the studio. Today, we're looking at MICROTEC's Vector VCAP, so I'm really excited to get my hands on all the feature this hat press has to offer. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, first things first, the packaging. Let's see how MICROTEC ships this thing. There's wood, there's styrofoam to protect it. It ships out pretty well. First impression, this thing has some weight to it. That's actually a good sign. Cheap presses feel flimsy. This doesn't. Let's see what else is in the box. You've got 4 interchangeable lower platens, the 5.9 by 5.9 flathead plate. You've got your power cable, your manual, and your basic accessories. So right out of the box, you're getting 4 different lower platens. That's important, and I'll explain why in just a few seconds. Most hat presses come with one size, and if your caps don't fit that one size, you're fighting the machine every single time. MICROTEC is giving you 4 options right out of the gate. And this 5th plate here, the 5.9 by 5.9, that opens the door to pressing small items and specialty transfers. That's not something that you see bundled in this price point usually. All right, let's take a look at the machine itself. Upper platen. It's 4 by 9 inches in surface. That's a solid surface area for heat transfers. You're not squeezing a large print into a tiny platen. It covers the full front panel of the structured cap pretty comfortably. Now this right here is what caught my attention when I first looked at this press online. It's the gas shock assisted opening. Watch this. When you lift it, it holds. It doesn't fight you. It doesn't slam back down. If you've ever used a standard hat press, you know the struggle. You're loading the cap, you're trying to hold the platen up, trying to position the transfer, trying to keep the cap from sliding. That's a lot. This opens about 50 degrees and it stays there. That's a workflow improvement. Your hands are free. Now the pressure adjustment. This is a low to high clamp design and it's adjustable. Different cap materials need different pressure. A trucker cap versus a heavy structured wool cap, those are not the same press. Having that range matters. The controls, digital time and temperature, clean display, nothing overcomplicated. You set your temp, you set your time, it beeps when it's ready. I'll show you that action in a second. So I'm going to show you how to swap the lower platens. It's just this easy. And that really matters between jobs that you might be switching from a structure cap to a dad cap to a visor. If swapping platens takes 10 minutes and a tool, it kills your production flow. Let's see how this feels. All right, let's power this up and let's get to the temperature. I'm also going to be timing this so that we'll know how long it takes to hit that 300 degrees. So we're running it 300 degrees, 7 seconds. That's the starting point. Depending on your transfer supplier, the numbers may vary slightly, but that's our baseline for our DTF on caps. The display is clear, it's responsive, there's no lag on the buttons. While this is coming up to temp, I'll let you know who this press is built for. If you're running a small to mid-sized shop and hats are part of your product line, this is the kind of machine that earns its footprint. It's compact, it's not going to take up half your production table, but it's not a hobbyist toy either. You've got 4 platens, gas shocks, adjustable pressure. That's a full-on production tool. This is also a strong entry point for anyone trying to add DTF to hats. The profit margins on these hats are crazier than t-shirts. The cost of a small transfer for a hat can be around 25 to 50 cents or less. Because of the print is so small, imagine a hat blank for about $4.50. you're all in for under $5. The math just simply works. Okay, we're at temp. Let's go ahead and press. The first one is going to be the structured hat. It's a structured front panel. I was originally going to use a 4x9 lower platen for this one, but it seems to be a little bit too big here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a smaller 3.8 platen for this one. It seems to match the curve a little bit better. All right, the transfer is centered. We're gonna go ahead and press. We peel. All right, these are super clean edges. Everything went on fine. The edges are sharp, the color transferred fully, there's no lifting on the seams. This is basically what you'll be getting. The next one is going to be the dad hat. Now we're going to try to swap the unstructured dad hat. I'm swapping this to a smaller platen to match the flatter crown profile. The unstructured caps are actually a little bit trickier because they're less rigidity. Holding the fabric in place, it's a little bit harder. The curve is softer. You need a platen to match that so that you can get consistent pressure across the transfer every single time. All right, we're gonna press this. Here are the results. The edges are really sharp. Everything came on perfectly. There's no scorching. The lines are just perfect on this one. You can definitely do a mass amount of these constantly with this platen. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. This is gonna be the youth cap. So we're gonna be using the 2.8 by 6.5 platen for this one. These smaller platens again are perfect for the visors and youth caps. It fits really nicely around these curves. All the edges transferred perfectly, and we're moving on to the next one. All right, we're going to be swapping to the 5.9 by 5.9 flat plate. This is going to help press smaller items like neck tags, sleeves, patch, or pocket area of a shirt. We're going to be doing the neck tag as well as the sleeve. So this is basically going to turn the VCAP into more than just a hat press. You're basically not just buying a dedicated flat press here. You have the options. That means you're not stuck with just a hat job. You can press these patches as well as brand your tees through the neck or on the sleeve. All right, they both came out really well. It's super easy to load. You can definitely mass produce this. This definitely beats out. All right, real talk guys, here's where I land on the Vector VCAP. Here's what I like about it. The gas shock, it is not a gimmick. This actually works. It works great. It actually changes the way you load cap. Your hands are free. You're not fighting to press. Over the course of a day's production, that adds up. Next, the 4 platens that are included here right out of the box is the right call. This machine understands that cap styles are different, and it gives you the tools to handle that without buying extra accessories separately. Now, the flat plate, this is actually a real nice bonus. It's not a primary use case, but it is a legitimate production tool. The first press results were very, very clean. The edges were sharp. It was full coverage on even the big transfers that we're using. basically no fuss. Here's a couple things that I would like to know over time. One of the things is how consistent this stays under a long production run. I'm talking about temperature stability across a full day of pressing is really what separates a good press from a great one. That's something that I'll update you guys on after we put some real hours of testing to this machine. I also need to do more testing. Everything adhered fine, but I did have challenges on a really stiff structured cap. This one is from FlexFit, but it's a really structured hat. And as you guys can see, the strength of the pressure on the hat press, the curves, everything kind of shaped this hat. I could probably try to repress this out if needed, but overall what I would do is probably tune and tweak the pressure a bit to see if I can reduce this. I also didn't use a protective silicone covering, so that's also something that I could use to reduce the heat as well as the scorching that's happening. But overall, who should go ahead and buy this hat press? Now, if hats are part of your product line and you're running a real production operation, a small shop or a mid-sized shop, it really doesn't matter. This is really worth a serious look. Now, if you're pressing one hat a week as a hobby, it really might be overkill, too much machine for really what you need right now. But if caps are a real revenue stream for you, the features here justify the investment. All right, guys, so if you guys are interested in the Vector VCAP, the link is in the description below. That's the direct link to MICROTEC site where you guys can check the spec, the pricing, as well as the availability. Now, if you want to see us put more hours on this machine and test it on a longer production run, hit subscribe, turn on that notification for that follow-up video that's coming. Now, drop your questions below if you guys have any questions, or if you're on the fence about this cap press, or if you want to know more about this press. We'll do our best to answer those questions for you. And as always, press right, press smart, transfer superstars. My name is Phil. I'll catch you on that next one.